What's up, guys? Welcome back to another day in the dungeon with Ty. Today we're hitting some legs. Now, this was about the worst leg workout of my whole life. I felt like crap the whole time. Still recovering from whatever it was that upset my stomach. Still not feeling too hot the last few days. Just been really wanting to puke all the time, and sorry if that's kind of gross, but it's the truth. And I've been forcing myself to still get up about 4 or 5 a.m., hit a workout. I wanted to put in a little bit of my warm-up routine here, so I usually hit the treadmill for about 5 minutes, start off with a little bit of a walk, a little bit of a slow jog, and then a little bit of a fast jog till my legs and my body feel like they're pretty warmed up. I'll throw on my squat shoes and my knee sleeves before I move over to doing some of my dynamic warm-ups here. Starting off with some squats and some pulse squats at the bottom, just trying to get all those muscles warmed up, and then I move over to a leg swing. I do usually about 10 to 12 to the front, try and get that leg up as high as I can. Been really working on my range of motion and my flexibility, and I'm actually really happy with how high I get that leg up there, getting my toe kind of close to head level, and never been able to do that before, so flexibility is definitely increasing. And then I take my leg swings, move them out to the side, try and warm up my hip a little bit from a different angle. Since I've been incorporating these leg swings and a little bit more dynamic warm-up into my routine, my squats, my deadlifts, they've all improved. Just way more stability in my hips, and feels a lot better when I go in there to hit my workout. After I finish up with my dynamic warm-up, I like to do a little bit of static stretching. Not too much static stretching, because static stretching has been shown to decrease your power output if you do it for too long before a strength training program. So I just try and hang out a little bit here at the end of the range of motion until it feels good. Really want to focus on making sure I can go through a full range of motion in my squats and deadlifts without feeling any sort of restriction. That's mostly what I'm trying to get out of this. I usually only stretch for about, I don't know, between 5 and 15 seconds on each leg and each position. This is mostly focusing on warming up my lower back, stretching out my hamstrings, and stretching out my hips so that I can get full mobility in there. I also move over to stretching out my quads and my calves before I move on to doing my deadlifts. So like I said earlier, stomach's still really upset, and we also moved over to a little bit of a different deadlift platform than I'm used to. Now I'm deadlifting off of a 2-inch thick, basically foam pad, and a lot of my force is dissipating into the pad. We also don't have any deadlift bars. We only have straight bars here. So my strength was down from not eating, not sleeping, and kind of feeling like crap. And then also it was down from being on a 2-inch rubber foam pad and using a straight bar instead of a deadlift bar. Now the difference between that straight bar and the deadlift bar is the deadlift bar will give you a little bit more flexion in the middle of the bar, so that when you go to actually pick the weight up off the floor, you'll be a couple inches higher before you actually pick the weight up, and give you a little bit more of a mechanical advantage before you break that weight from the floor. I did one set of 1 with 365, one set of 5 with 325, and it was supposed to be one set of 6 with 365, but given the circumstances, I had to do that 1 with 365. Felt brutal, and then moved over to a set of 5 to finish out that set of 6 with 325. After that, I had to move over to a set of 12, which is supposed to be about a 20% decrease from my top set of 6. So I dropped it down to about 245. Now, I probably could have got 255 here, maybe 265, but I wasn't feeling it and just wanted to make sure I got all 12 of those repetitions. After we finished up the sumo style deadlifts, I moved over to a leg press machine. Now, this was kind of weird because my leg press actually increased significantly from the other leg press machine that I used to use. This leg press machine is actually pretty smooth, and I was able to do 6 plates on each side instead of last time I did 5.5 plates. And I wasn't feeling too hot, like I said earlier, and I was already fatigued from doing my deadlift, so being able to go up a half a plate on each side and still get my 6 repetitions in, I was really happy with that. After I finished that set of 6, I didn't rest long enough. I had to be at work really early this morning. I got called in early and didn't get enough sleep in, so I was trying to rush some of these sets here. I moved on to my set of 12 after maybe a minute of rest and probably needed 2 to 3 minutes of rest. I was only able to get about 8 repetitions, and then I had to finish out my last 4 repetitions after catching my breath. After we finished the leg press, moved over to the leg extension machine. Since we didn't take the sumo deadlifts or the leg press to 3 sets of failure like I usually do per each muscle group, now we've got to do our 3 sets to failure with the leg extension and leg curl machines. So we started off with the leg extension machine. I'm really not feeling it. I even had to drop my weight down in between sets from, I think I've started out with 220, dropped it down to 205 for my next set, and then dropped it down to 190 for my last set. The fatigue is wearing on me right here. Moved over to this leg curl machine, which feels kind of weird. It's not the typical leg curl machine where you've got one on the front of your shins and then one on the back side of your ankles. This one's just got a pad over the top of my quads, something I'm not used to, so I wasn't able to do quite as much weight as I usually do. I also want to start focusing more when I do an isolation exercise on the contraction instead of how much weight I'm doing, and kind of try and focus more on my compound lifts, how heavy those are, and focus the contraction portion of my isolation lifts like my hamstring curls. Now, don't get me wrong, I still want to be adding weight and repetitions to my isolation exercises, but I think I'm going to drop my weight down a little bit so that I can get a better contraction each time and then kind of focus on going up from there. I have a tendency to want to do more weight instead of improving the quality of my repetitions. If my form's fine, I'm usually okay with letting how good the contraction is slide a little bit, and that's something that I need to fix in my routine, because how you actually contract the muscle and how you break down the muscle tissue is a lot more important than just how much weight you're doing. Moved on to a set of 20 on the hack squats here. Still feeling really fatigued, so I only added 10 pounds from last time. Threw a 5 on each side. Now, this hack squat actually felt better than the last time I did it. I'm a bit more used to the machine. Was able to scoot up so that I could get a little bit better leverage, and I'm pretty sure that lift is going to start going up significantly. Moved on to the seated calf raise one more time. After watching myself do this clip, my range of motion significantly decreases in the last couple repetitions for my set of 20. And there's no real comfortable way to hold on to this pad, and it kind of cuts into my quads. So I'm going to start dropping the weight on this one so that I can get a better contraction out of my calves and not worry too much about how much weight I'm doing, and kind of switch up focusing more on the quality of the repetition. Did one set of 20 with a fairly slow negative on this one, and then we did one set of 40 pulses with 100 pounds. That's going to finish up the workout for today. Really just trying to recover from how I've been feeling these last few days. Hopefully my next workout is a little bit better. Thanks for watching, guys. Tyson Winder signing out.